I never imagined that my honeymoon, the dream of a lifetime, could turn into a whirlwind of emotions so complex and twisted. When one thinks of a honeymoon, idyllic moments come to mind. Walks on the beach at sunset, the gentle sound of waves crashing on the shore, hands intertwined under a starry sky. This was exactly what I had envisioned in the months leading up to it, meticulously planning every detail. But reality had a very different story in store for me. Before continuing, if you love stories of secrets, passion, and impossible choices, subscribe to our channel. Every day, we bring you stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Jake and I had arrived in Hawaii 2 days earlier. The long flight from New York had been exhausting, but the excitement of our honeymoon and our new life together made it feel lighter. The first night was an explosion of passion, perhaps fueled more by the tension accumulated during the wedding preparations than by love itself. But by the next morning, something had changed. I couldn't quite understand what it was, but a subtle unease had settled between us. Jake seemed distant, lost in his thoughts, absorbed in an emotional isolation I couldn't penetrate. The resort was a paradise on earth, private villas overlooking the ocean, lush vegetation, and the intoxicating scent of tropical flowers. Every morning, as I had breakfast on our villa's veranda, I watched the waves crash against the distant rocks, searching for a sign, a change in Jake's gaze, but he remained distant, like an unreachable island. Yet, despite the breathtaking beauty of the place, I felt alone. Jake spent hours immersed in a crime novel, detached from everything, even me. That was how I began exploring the resort alone. That was how I saw him for the first time. It was the third day. I was walking along the beach, letting the soft sand caress my feet, when I noticed a man sitting on a rock not far from the shore. He was facing away, but his athletic physique and dark, curly hair tousled by the wind made him unmistakable. He wore a white linen shirt, left open at the chest, and sand-colored shorts. He seemed deep in thought, or perhaps lost in the contemplation of the ocean. Intrigued, I walked closer. When I was near enough, he turned around. His hazel eyes studied me with disarming intensity. His smile was confident, free of embarrassment, as if he had been expecting me all along. "Hi," he said in a warm, deep voice. His English was almost perfect, but there was a slight foreign accent I couldn't immediately place. "Hi," I instinctively replied, feeling my heart quicken for no apparent reason. "Are you new here?" he asked, though he seemed to already know the answer. "Yes, I arrived a few days ago," I said, trying to maintain a neutral tone. But inside me, I felt a different energy, a shiver down my spine, as if that encounter had already changed something imperceptible in my existence. "Welcome then, I'm Ethan." I hesitated only for a moment before shaking his hand. His grip was firm, secure, but not overpowering. I should have immediately mentioned Jake, said I was on my honeymoon, clarified my situation. And yet, something held me back. Perhaps the desire to be seen as a woman, not just as a wife. In the following days, I met Ethan several times. Sometimes by chance, sometimes not. We would talk, walk along the beach, and have drinks at sunset. Every encounter carried a new energy, an intensity that made me feel alive. Meanwhile, Jake remained locked in his own world. The turning point came one evening when Jake decided to go on a night fishing trip. I felt relieved, as if I had been waiting for that opportunity without realizing it. I sat at the beach bar with a glass of wine in hand, and, as I had hoped, Ethan did not take long to arrive. "Can I kiss you?" he asked with a disarming sincerity. His kiss was sweet, slow, almost respectful. But behind that gentleness, there was a fire that slowly began to ignite within me. I let myself be carried away, forgetting everything I should have remembered. That night, in his arms, I felt the weight of my life dissolve for a few hours. But every choice has a consequence. The next morning, guilt gripped my throat, but not enough to stifle the desire to see him again. And so, lies became my new language. I looked at Jake and loved him, but in a different way. Ethan had become my obsession, my escape, my downfall. Until the last evening, when everything collapsed. A beach party, lanterns illuminating the sky, music filling the air. Jake took my hand, unaware of everything. Then I saw Ethan. His eyes met mine, and in that moment I knew. I could no longer lie. "I need to talk to you," I said to Jake, and my voice trembled. I looked into his eyes and saw the color drain from his face as I uttered the words that would change everything. "I cheated on you." The silence that followed was deafening. Jake took a step back, his face marked by a pain I had never seen before. "Why?" he asked in a barely audible voice. I had no simple answer. I didn't even know myself. Perhaps because I felt lost. Perhaps because I was searching for something I had never had. But now, the only certainty was that I had hurt him, and there was no way to undo it. Jake walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Ethan looked at me, waiting for an answer I couldn't give him. I remained on the shore, watching Jake's boat drift away into the darkness. I knew I had lost something precious, but perhaps, for the first time, I had made a choice truly my own. What do you think? Can betrayal ever be justified, or is it always a wrong choice? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for new stories every day.